Hey guys, welcome back. So yeah, it's been quite a while, I guess, maybe 2 months since I last did my pickups video. Literally the first opportunity I've had where I've had time to get in here and film another one. So yeah, I've been really busy. I've literally just finished a 3-day horror marathon. So I'm quite tired, and yeah, I've literally got an extra day off work just because I need to recover from pretty much doing horror movies back to back. So yeah, there's I'll try and put a little picture up. There's I just did a horror marathon. I try and do it every year, really local to where I am. Such a good time. Like, a couple of mates come over and we just hang out and just, you know, sit in a dark room with pretty much a load of strangers and you know, watch movies back to back. There's a whole mixture of new and there's a whole mixture of old. Some shorts in there as well. So I don't know how many films I've watched in the last 3 days, 4 days. Like, it's got to be 20, 30 movies maybe. So yep, I'm still going today though. I'm watching some of the classics. I've got Frankenstein going at the moment, and I've done The Mummy, a few random ones from the old Universal Classic monsters that I've been trying to get through for ages, and I thought I've got an extra day of work today, so I'm going to try and get through some of those while I've got the time. Anyway, that's enough waffling. So, pickups, what did I pick up? So, I'm going to do all the pickups I've had. There's not a mass amount, so been trying to be really good at picking up like very specific things, really, rather than just everything I see. So, yep. Not a mass amount. Now this is probably going to cover both months. This is going to be September and October combined. So casting my mind back to September, I think we had a local sort of like, it's like what they call a trail sale here. So literally people put out stuff they want to sell around the front of the houses in the local village, and you go around and just, you know, like, everyone has a look round, and a bit like a car boot sale, but you just do it from your house. And I got a couple of bits from there. Now, I do blame probably Stuart George for this, and probably Sammy G to some extent, and Bryn over at Horror Hands. So if you're watching, this is your fault. So I did what I said I would never do, and I picked up a few VHS. So yeah, I'll quickly go over what I picked them up. Now, the reason I picked these up, these were basically nostalgic movies that I had on VHS, not necessarily these editions, and just sort of like key milestones in my movie watching history. And they were 20p each, so I thought, you know, less than £1, 80p I've spent on 4 movies here. So they're more for decorative purchases, I guess. So I'm literally never gonna watch these on VHS. I would highly doubt. But I know Bryn, if he's still got the same setup he showed a while back at Horror Hands, he's got a really good display of old VHS titles, like obviously horror ones for himself. And I thought, yeah, that's quite a good idea, actually, just to physically touch and feel the format that you used to have so much, you know, love and attention for when you were younger. But yeah, so the first one there is E.T. Obviously a massive VHS seller back in the day, probably one of the biggest VHS sellers back in the day. Yeah, really nice condition. These are I guess these are like newer releases. They're not the old 80s releases, obviously, but yeah, 20 pence. I thought I'm going to pop that tape through, so, you know, yeah, quite a nice setup there. So that's E.T., one I definitely grew up with and enjoyed. Now this one, probably a controversial one, apparently. Now I've got an absolute love for the 2000s. That's where I hit teenage years, and that's where my movie loving started growing rapidly. So 2000s is where I sort of like kicked off with these type of movie. And this one was a sequel, which I think everyone seems to think is the worst in the whole bunch, and it may well be, but I've got a real soft spot for it because the first movie of this franchise I found quite boring, to be fair, and I enjoyed it enough, but I just thought it was quite slow and a bit boring. And then when this came along, it's like I say, I was an early teenager. This came out, and this was the opposite. This was action-packed. I had sweaty palms at the start of the film, and that's Mission Impossible 2. So yeah, I know a lot of people are probably like scoffing at the moment and going like it's a pile of garbage, but it hit me at the right time, at the right age. So yeah, I thought pick that one up because I think John Woo directed that one, and I remember the opening scene where he's just literally, you know, clinging onto this cliff for dear life. I'm not a fan of heights personally, so that gets me going. Yeah, 20 pence, like I say, so I thought I'm going to throw that up there. Another kind of milestone when I was a teenager of getting into action movies. The soundtrack of like Limp Bizkit and stuff like that, all from that era, exactly where I'm at. Another one from, again, the very early 2000s, but this one going slightly more down the sort of horror route, not quite horror route, as you'll see in a second. And there's the comedy horror Scary Movie. Absolutely love this film. I've probably seen this more times than most of the films they're referencing in there. because I rewatched I Know What You Did Last Summer last week, whichever it was. And to be fair, so many of them scenes in my head weren't in the movie. They were actually from here, and I just thought, oh god, this film has probably ruined so many films for me in terms of remembering them correctly. But I enjoyed my rewatch of I Know What You Did Last Summer. But I just thought, this one is pretty much, this is where I remember everything from, like the parody version of all those films. But yeah, really, really funny. Absolutely love it. Obviously, they've got a new one coming out soon from the original guys. They're coming back to do another one, so I've got fingers crossed they're going to be, doing the same sort of magic they did on that one, but with the newer horrors that have come out over the last few years. And then the last one that I picked up on VHS was, I wish this was the first one, because I must admit I do prefer the first one. I did look, but I didn't have it. But I picked up Scream 2. So yeah, again, late 90s, early 2000s, that sort of era, horror, Wes Craven's movie. Scream 2, everyone's seen it, everyone knows about it. I just bought for the artwork on the box there, and obviously the old box VHS sort of style format. Advertising Jackie Brown and Scream in there as well. Excuse me, sound like a croaky throat because I've been up for like 3 days watching movies. Yeah, so that was the 4 VHS I picked up way back in September, 20p ago, decorative purposes mainly. I just thought I'd show those off. And so I picked up a t-shirt from the horror festival I was at for 3 days. So this is obviously Humanoids from the Deep. Really like the artwork on this one. I never buy anything from those conventions. I feel bad, like I go and I just try and be really good with my money and not spend it everywhere. I could spend hundreds because they have a little store there with films, like imported films. There's loads of stuff you just can't pick off of the shelf. There's guys there that sell those. I mean, they're quite a pretty penny, most of them, so I could easily spend up hundreds. And the t-shirts, the guys do the t-shirts there as well. And again, you could get carried away. So I thought, I'm going to treat myself this year. I'm going to go for one of these. And I did pick up a film, which I'll show at the end as well. Right, so in sort of order, roughly, I think it was, I picked up a Tobe Hooper film, which is Invaders from Mars. So I've seen this one before. I feel kind of I feel what's the word? I feel conflicted with this movie. Like, I want to love it more than I do love it. I do love the practical effects and the creatures towards the end. I like there's a weird kind of look to this film where like it looks like it's all shot on a soundstage, and it may well be. I don't know. I do enjoy it. I just kind of like, when I watch it, I feel slightly disappointed when I watch it, but then I also really enjoy it at the same time. It's a really weird movie for me. Don't know why. I give it like 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so sort of like just over halfway. Yeah, so that's the first one I picked up way back in September on Blu-ray. So this one is, again, this one here is more of a thriller than anything else from the early 2000s. This has got a cast of Dennis Quaid, Sharon Stone and Stephen Dwarf in Cold Creek Manor. So I remember watching this on DVD years ago and quite enjoying this one. I hadn't seen it in 15, 20 years, something like that. And yeah, I saw a copy come up and I thought, I'm going to grab one of those because I want to rewatch that one. I haven't seen it in a long time. And to be fair, yeah, it held up pretty well. Like, yeah, it was pretty tense. This family move into this old house. And then they realise that the guy who used to live there basically is still around the town. He's not necessarily the... let's say the most favourable of characters in the town, possibly, like in terms of what you think the guy's going to be like towards him. He's a little bit off with him, but eventually somehow he starts working for him. So he's sort of like working for him in his house. He's been through a bad time. He's on his down and out. Yeah, so there's a weird kind of like thing where this guy who used to live in the house is now working for the people that own the house. And there's like a weird sort of trust issue going on there. Like he's kind of a shady character that you don't quite fully trust. But yeah, really good. If you like this sort of like slowish burn thrillers from the I don't know, this is probably early 2000s again, I reckon. Yeah, I'd recommend checking that one out. So this one I picked up because I saw it in a charity shop for 99p, and I haven't seen this one again since it probably came out. So the cast in this, most of these guys I really enjoy. So Jesse Eisenberg, Danny McBride, I think it is. Yeah, so it is a 30 minutes or less. So yeah, I remember watching it first came out and thinking it was okay. Not quite the high caliber of movie that I say high caliber, low caliber, but maybe for my taste. But the type of low key comedy that I enjoy. But I'm willing to give it another rewatch because it's probably been a good 10-15 years since I've seen it, and I'm sure I'll have some sort of fun good time with that one. For 99p, couldn't go wrong. So this one was a gift. So this one was a gift from my sister. So she bought me a film, Clint Eastwood film. I've been getting into Clint Eastwood movies a few months back. And yeah, she picked me up a copy of Tightrope, which I'd never seen before. Now I watched this one, and I'll be honest, I can't really tell you much about it. I can't remember a lot about it. It was fine. I just think, I don't know, it just didn't click fully with me. I read the premise and I looked at the trailer and I thought, that sounds really good. And then when I watched it, I was just kind of like, it was one of those ones that passed me by. I'd watched it, and you know, if you ask me anything about it now, I struggle to tell you anything about it. Now this one was a game changer for me. So this one here is, I think it should be an 80s movie. So this is an 80s movie called Dead Pit. So yeah, I picked this one up. This one, now I've seen this pop up on lists throughout the years on different YouTube things and you know, just online forums and stuff. I've always thought, yeah, I'll look into that one day, and I just never got to it. So I thought, I'm going to give it a go. Yeah, watched it. Absolutely loved it. I thought this is probably one of my watches of the last 2 months, like my favourite watches of the last 2 months, probably. Yeah, so The Dead Pit. So if you, like me, hadn't seen this one yet, it's 80s. It's sort of a zombie movie at the end, I would say. So it's all set in this mental asylum where this doctor is basically mistreating the patients, shall we say, chucking them into a pit at the end, hence the dead pit. So all this stuff is sort of explained in the first 5-10 minutes of the film. This isn't sort of like major spoilers. And then it cuts to like X amount of years later, and this girl turns up there who is essentially being put into this mental institution because she's got amnesia. She can't remember anything about herself or about her life before. So she's in there with all these sort of like proper crazy looking people walking around, dribbling around the corridors and stuff like that. And there's a few in there that you kind of think actually they seem fine, and there's a guy who's like, he's in there for like making bombs and stuff and blowing stuff up, but he seems, other than his sort of like hobby, he seems quite sane and quite, you know, mentally stable, and he's about to be released quite soon. But yeah, so she sort of finds a couple of friends in this mental institution, and these doctors are kind of just doing things like doing their normal daily to-day things, and all of a sudden there's this weird thing going on where she sort of like discovers, or she gets these flashbacks of these people in the pit below, and she's kind of like freaking out. Yeah, really, really impressed with this one. It was 80s. It had a really good 80s look about it. Almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street type look of it or feel about it. The first one, quite dark, quite like dreamlike in certain sequences with lots of like steam and mist and stuff. Really good characters. Really love the practical effects in this one. And yeah, the characters towards the end. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm trying to skirt around a lot of stuff. But as you get towards the end, there's yeah, a couple of explosions and some zombie action, shall we say, for the last half an hour. Really impressed me. I had a great time with this one, so I'd highly recommend Dead Pit. So this one was just a childhood staple that I hadn't actually picked up before, and I realised I hadn't picked it up yet, and that is The Land Before Time. So this one, if you're an 80s child like me, you probably had this one wheeled into your school at some point on a massive you know, VHS and TV player, and played out to you when you couldn't go out and play because it was raining. At least that's my first experience with this one, I'm sure, and if not, it was on TV, I'm sure, throughout the 80s and early 90s as well, about a dinosaur movie. Everyone knows this one if they're interested in it. If not, animation, I'm sure, is not for everyone. Cool, we're going to swing through these quite quick. So next one I picked up was one that gets a real bad review online, and this is and I'm sure that everyone else is probably right, but I had a great time with this one. This one is called Passion Play. So the cast on this is Mickey Rourke, Megan Fox and Bill Murray. So the cast on this one sold me. The premise was, you know, it sounded okay. I thought that seems interesting. I thought I'd give it a go. So yeah, I gave this one a go. Now the IMDb scores on this one, I think, are sitting around 4 or something like that, 4.5 out of 10. Obviously, I had a great time with this one. I thought this was really good. It reminded me of like something that you would have gotten maybe in the late 90s in terms of the story and the script. And I do wonder whether it's something that was written back then and just got shelved, because I think this actually came out maybe in mid-2000s. It's got to be, because Megan Fox has like only been around since, you know, mid-2000s, I guess. So, I don't know, 2010, 2012, something around there, it's got to be. But yeah, so it's reasonably modern, I guess. But The storyline of this one is essentially, I think, the casting, I thought the casting was really well done. So you got Mickey Rourke, who's this down and out, I think he's a trumpet player. I think he's a musician, basically. He plays his instrument. And he's basically, the movie opens with him being walked out into the middle of the desert to be executed. And just at the last second, and like I said, this is all in the first few minutes of the film, so there's very, very mild spoilers, nothing to write home about. Just before he's about to get shot, someone takes out the guy who's about to kill him. So he manages to escape and runs off. Now, as he's going through the desert and he gets, he's literally running for his life now and hoping that he can get away from the guys that are trying to take him out. He stumbles across this, basically, it's like a freak show type thing, like a kind of like carnival type thing where these guys are all set up, and all he wants to do is get in, try and use the phone and try and contact someone to try and help him out of this desert he's in. And whilst he gets in there, he basically asks the guys to let him in to use their phone. He stumbles across Megan Fox, who is in not quite a cage, let's say a display. So she's in a display chamber, so you've got a light above her and stuff, and she's in there on her own. You can't get out there. And the reason she's on display is because her unique kind of like look is that she has wings. So this is where the plot's going to lose a lot of people. So she has wings. So it reminded me a little bit City of Angels with Nick Cage, that type of film, but with more of a sort of grittier 90s thriller edge thrown onto it, rather than that sort of like soppy romance edge to it. So she's in this cage because she's got these wings, and then it kind of gets brushed off as like obviously they're probably fake wings, and then she doesn't really allude to whether they are fake wings, whether they're real wings. He sees her and he's sort of interested, obviously, because it's quite a visual, unusual thing to see. Anyway, so he's trying to find his phone, trying to find contacts. Anyway, he ends up getting a phone call out to someone to come and help him out, and then he's waiting around outside this like freak show basically in the desert, and he's needing to sit down. He's exhausted from walking. He bangs on this trailer door, which is Megan Fox's trailer, and she's in there. Now she happens to have known this guy because he was a musician, like a really well musician. He's a washed up musician now. She knows him from listening to his music from past. She's got his LPs around in her trailer, and he goes in, and she's not that keen on letting him in at first, but he sort of like convinces her that he just needs to sit down and have a drink of water basically, and they start chatting, and then he starts to realise that he thinks those wings that she's got may actually be real wings, and he's sort of then thinking to himself, maybe he could exploit her, like she's kind of being exploited now, right? So she's in this freak show sort of her free will, she's sort of part of it, but she's got no other choice really, she's nothing else she can do. So he kind of like befriends her to some extent, but you kind of don't really trust how far his actual friendship is going and how much of it is him just trying to make a quick dollar basically off of the back of her. They buddy up, and he has got a debt. So Mickey Rourke has got a debt. This is why he's being assassinated, or attempted to be assassinated. He has got a debt where he has messed with the wrong woman of a big gangster, and that gangster found out, so he wants Mickey Rourke's character dead. So he's hoping that he can use Megan Fox as a bargaining chip for his life. So he takes her back basically to the big city, and he has to tread carefully because she's like this unique entity, but he wants to try and get him off the hook, but he doesn't want her to know that. It's a weird complex kind of like plot there. I had a really good time with this one. Now the CGI does let this one down. It must have been quite a low budget passion project type movie based on the plot and based on like the look of the wings and stuff. It's fine, it's passable. There are certain scenes, especially on a rooftop scene, which gives Tommy Wiseau's The Room a run for its money for special effects, if you know, you know. But other than that, that's towards the end. Other than that, I really had a good time with this movie. I don't understand why it's only got 4 something on IMDb. I would highly recommend you check this one out if any of what I said sounds remotely interesting. So that is Passion Play. So this one here is one that I watched a while back and I've been meaning to pick up for absolutely ages and I just hadn't, and now I have. It is The Prowler, I think Rosemary's Killer or something like that it may be known as otherwise, but I know it as The Prowler. Yeah, enjoy this one, sort of an 80s teen slasher. I think it's 80s, could be late 70s, but I think it's 80s. This one, and now the standout for this on me are the practical effects in here are absolutely amazing. There's stuff in here which I'd still question now how it is done. Like, you can mostly work out how a lot of stuff was done back in the day, especially on the sort of high definition transfers, and newer stuff obviously you can tell when it's CG and most of the time, but this stuff obviously I'm pretty sure it's Tom Savini, it's got to be. Yeah, the special effects on this are just absolutely fantastic to look at when people are getting like torn apart and, you know, ripped apart and everywhere. There's some scenes on here I still question now, like I have no idea how they've done that. It looks so good and so impressive. Highly recommend if you like your 80s style slashers and you still haven't got this one yet and you like the practical effects and gore. And this one was one that went on Amazon. I streamed this one and had a good time with it. This one went on a deal on the Amazon Prime Day, I think, for about £6 something. So I thought that is perfect timing to pull the trigger on this one. And that is Strange Darling. So I'm guessing a lot of people would have seen this one by now, but it's an out of sequence kind of chapter story about this guy and this woman who it's seemingly like he is chasing her down and trying to hunt her down. Now, the whole story elaborates into why he's doing that, which is quite an interesting story as to why he's doing that, and it's told in an out-of-order sequence kind of for tale, so I don't want to say too much more than that. So, yeah, really enjoyed this one, quite a good thriller, some really gory scenes in this one again towards the end. Yeah, really enjoyed that. Now, this one I picked up based on Ollie. So Ollie loves film. Ollie loves film. Yeah, he's spoke about this one a few times now, and I think the last time he spoke about it, it really just like, right, I thought this is the time. I've got to pick this one up because I keep forgetting to pick it up after he's mentioned it. And that is a Michael Caine movie called Is Anybody There? So I had a really good time with this one, really enjoyed this. Thanks ever so much, Ollie, for recommending this one. So it is one of these low-budget, indie kind of British movies. If you haven't seen Ollie recommend this one and you don't know about the plot, so again, loosely, this plot is this young lad is living at a old people's home, an old folks' home with his mum and dad back in the, I want to say 70s or 80s, I think it's set. I forget now, somewhere around that period. Yeah, he's living in this old folks' home with his mum and dad. And that is their bread and butter. That is how they make their money. They all live in the house with the old people. They're also caring for them. And Michael Caine plays a retired magician. So a bit of a, you know, if you know Paul Daniels from way back and Debbie McGee, imagine if a Paul Daniels style character had lost Debbie McGee many years before and was now kind of like at the age of needing help to live on his own. It's the kind of character you would end up with Michael Caine. So he ends up begrudgingly having to go into this home. He doesn't want to be there. He thinks he's not bad enough yet to be in a home, to be looked after, to be cared for. And this young lad who lives there, his story basically, he's obsessed with death. He just wants to know what's after life after death. Like, is there anything after death? What happens when you die? So he's going around this old folks' home, setting up cassette recorders, like the big old-fashioned, tape recorders you would put in a hi-fi system. He's setting them up underneath the beds of the old people when they're like near the end of their days, bless them, and he's trying to record the last moments and stuff. Sounds really morbid, but it's done in a fairly light-hearted way, with a very kind of a serious kind of undertone going through it all the way through. Anyway, so that's his character. The two characters meet, obviously, so when they get in there, they sort of clash and they butt heads. They don't really get on at the start. And the story is about them two sort of like bonding and finding some common ground and doing things together. But I won't say too much more than that because, it does go down some sort of like paths I didn't know that it was going to go down. And yeah, I think on my my Letterboxd review, I just simply put there must have been some dust in the air because I think I got dust in my eye when I'm watching this one. So yeah, it might make a stone cry, as they say. Now this one here is one I picked up, I think again another Prime Day deal or something like that. It went on offer on Prime. It was £5. I like a home invasion movie. I haven't seen this one from the producers of Insidious, and that is Intruders, I think it is. Intruders, yep. So still one I haven't watched yet. I do like a home invasion movie. I quite like Insidious movies, so I thought £5 delivered, I've got to give that a try. So if anyone's seen that one, let me know down below. And then the last one I picked up, so this is the one I picked up from my film festival I've just come back off of, and this is one that when I saw the title had me. Then when I found out it was a Troma movie, I was even more involved. And then I read the idea on the back, and I thought, okay, I just have to buy it. And like, this is all me all over. So the movie in question is a Lloyd Kaufman movie, Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Yep. So now I'm guessing people like Bryn over Horror Hands, if you're watching, pal, you've probably got this one, but if you haven't, I'd say you'll enjoy this one. Obviously Marcus, X-File 2708, Tim, you'll probably get a kick out of this one, pal. Yeah, it's a Troma movie, so if you know Troma movies, if you know The Toxic Avenger, the original one, not the remake, you know that type of tone and budget you've got with this movie. It is slapstick comedy horror musical. So let me just have a quick read of the plot on this one. When the fast food chicken restaurant is built on the site of an ancient Native American burial ground, the spirits of the ghosts unite with the chickens and transform into Indian chicken zombies seeking revenge. Now it's up to a dim-witted counterboy and a lesbian with his lesbian ex-girlfriend and a burqa-wearing fry cook to put an end to the foul-feathered menace once and for all. I mean, who could not love that? That is just, now I brought this home and I watched it. Now I'd been at the cinema all day watching horror movies from 10 in the morning till 11, 12 at night. And I came back and I just had to put this on. So I ended up watching this one on my own setup at home. I was absolutely cracking up through this film from the off. Now, if you like the humour of the musicals that Trey and Matt Parker do from South Park, the movie, and Team America, the movie, there's not many songs in this because I was almost put off. I'm not a massive musical guy, but there's probably 4 or 5 songs, maybe quite well spread out. There's a few towards the start, I remember, but it's not all musical, is what I'm saying. So like, there is just a few songs in it. And some of those songs, the lyrics to those songs had me in absolute stitches. Like, they were funny as hell. Andy as well, Forgotten What a Movies, if you're watching, pal, I'm sure you would get a kick out of this movie as well. Very un-PC, very politically incorrect. You have to watch it to believe it. Highly recommend it. That is probably my second best watch of the month of all this bunch. Yeah, I can't say much more than that. Look into that. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Okay, so that is all the pickups I had for the last 2 months. I keep meaning to show these signs off. So Marcus, obviously the X-Files 2708, he's picking up all these metal signs that look really cool. And I saw a couple online and I wanted to pick them up. And I picked these up ages ago and I keep forgetting to show them. So I'm a massive fan of this movie because I saw this one, I think it may have been one of the very first movies I saw at the cinema. I was a very young kid and I still remember it. And that is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, really, so it's you can really hear, so like a metal sign. Really like the artwork. I like the logo they've got on the top there. I think you could have one with a different logo, a different text on it, but I preferred this one, so I went for this one. Really nice. I think this was off Amazon. And then the other one that just sort of caught my eye, completely different in tone, is one from an animated movie that I really enjoy, from the Iron Giant. So yeah, the colours on this just really captured. I just thought it was really nice, so I think I'm going to put those up. So not quite sure where I'm going to put them yet. I might put them in this room somewhere, but I'm quite tight on space. Or I might put them in the garage with my old garage cinema set up and just put a nice display, get a few more. Yeah, just to put them in there maybe. Who knows? But again, you know, tin signs, really nice artwork. Don't know if you can see that properly on there. See the lenses. Yeah, so you got the Iron Giant holding the boy. Yep, really like that one. That's those two showing off. So I think that is everything. That is everything. So yeah, not sure when the next video will be, but you know, stay tuned. I'll post it as when I get time to. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found something interesting in that mix there, and I'll see you again next time. See you guys.